Hi there, welcome to Dave in the Shed. I'm Dave and this is my little corner of the world, also known as the Shed Mahal. Now if you're into DIY, 3D printing and model trains, you've come to the right place. Now fair warning, I do things a little bit differently. I have cerebral palsy, which means sometimes things get a little bit creative around here, but hey, it just makes it more fun. So if you like making, fixing, and maybe even breaking things along the way, stick around. Hit that subscribe button and let's build something awesome together.
Down in the shed where the magic begins, Dave's got his tools, let the fun commence. 3D printing dreams, watch him come alive. With every little gadget, man, he starts to thrive. Blueprints in hand, technology so keen, building up the future like a crafty machine. Model trains rolling on a whimsical track. In this shed of wonder, there's no time to slack. Oh, Dave in the shed where the vibes stay high. Creating with passion, he's reaching for the sky. DIY master in a vibrant samba flow. Hope you enjoyed the video, let's get ready to go. Let's get ready to go.
Well, welcome to Wednesday in this week's review. On the workbench is another Ryobi mower. It's not the one that was playing up last time. This is a different one. We've got 3 of these in total between me and Mum. We've got 3 different reasons. This one is, the switch is a little bit dicky, but not as bad as the other one. And I am going to try later today, tomorrow, the next day, is using the other contacts in the switch like I said I would do on the other one. Watch the other video or ask questions below. I have ordered new switches, 2. I thought I'd grab 2. We've got 3 mowers. Eventually the other 2 will need the switches replacing, so while they had in stock in the place, I grabbed 2 more. But I will try using the other set of contacts in this switch and see what happens. Winter is coming. I was out doing some stuff on Saturday and I could feel the chill coming. So I thought it's time this week, what we should do is fire up the gas turbine. Let's turn on the rocket engine. First time this year. So it's stuck in the corner. It's one of these, even with the wide angle lens on and fully zoomed out, it's still not getting a full picture. But anyway, whole camera pushing in, got gloves on because I'm going to glue some stuff on in a sec. Push the go button. In this case, push and hold. Push and hold. Come on. Here we go. It's on. It's a tap tap. You can't see the screen of where I've got it on, but what it will do is it will start going click, 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 and prime, and then all going well, we'll get the rocket engine, jet engine, diesel heater to fire up. These things are pretty good at taking the heat off the shed when in the cold stuff. I've got this one set up so it exhausts outside. We used to have a wood heater in the old photos that didn't work very well, failed dismally. It's now a garden ornament. So this one vents outside with the heat coming inside. I'd love to find an old radiator because they tell me if you get one of those old radiators and you run the exhaust out through a radiator and you can recover more heat. You know, for the old radiators they used to use in houses. Anyway, that takes a bit to fire up. It'll start going click, click, click and prime. And then it'll go. But in the meantime, I'm going to see if this will work. I'm going to try and film me doing something. So I'm going to find a spot to put the camera. This may work or this may not work. People, bear with me. This is live. You're seeing this live. Yep, it's going to fall over. Trying to find a spot. I shouldn't do... Hang on. I might stop the camera and come back to you. We'll come back to that other job. Look. This is... hear that click, 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 click? We should have. I'm trying new mic techniques too. Wearing a hat and putting the little remote mic on my hat like I've seen a lot of YouTubers do. I thought I might try that. Makes it a bit easier. Seems to be working. So the diesel heater is now priming. That's that click, 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 click. You'll hear the sound. You can actually get noiseless priming pumps, but I like the click, click, click. Even though I'm at the depth of the post, you know that it is priming. And then the noise should, as it primes better, the noise should get less and less and less as it's built the pressure up. The turbine is spinning up. It's just like starting an aircraft engine. And if we get a fire, it should take off if it fires successfully. If it doesn't fire successfully, like most jet turbines, it'll throttle down and wait for instructions. This is the first firing of the season, so it's cold start. Most starts here are cold. I'm not going to edit this. This is a real-time fire up. Oh, come on, throttle up. It all does it all magically. Yep, it's throttling up. I can see on the display that it's actually, you probably can't see it on your display, but I can see on the, it has throttled up. So it's a nice gentle fire up and nice gentle fire down, which is nice because you don't want sudden warm up and fire. So that is a successful start. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting that we might prime and then go, and then prime and then go and have a couple of false starts. But that's good. Promising. Promising. Anyway, let's have a swing around, put the camera around somewhere where we can see what's going on. Okay, that thing's I'm only going to run it for about 5 minutes just to lube up the bearings, get the thing pressed. Anyway, back to you in a sec. So hopefully I've got the camera where you can see what I'm doing. And what I'm doing is I am gluing these things on this bridge here. You can't actually see the full meat of the frame, but I'm in the frame. This will be all come clear later. This is the old Ryobi bridge sections. But it'll be later in the clear of the video what I'm doing. But what I'm just doing is attaching these. I'm going to glue this up using super glue, quick dry glue, but going to glue these up. Then I've got to go out and do a recycling run and then come back on the next stage of what I'm doing on the video. But anyway, this will go. Now something interesting is these ones are all nice and square. I don't know how well you can see, but these are the sections that I've printed up and I'm gluing in. The ones on this section are not nice and square. I don't know if you can see that there's a big twist in it. This here has got a complete twist in it. And that is a Dave stuff up, because what happened is, I'll try and get careful. I ran out of filament on the last run of these, and I changed filament. And proper engineering, I know not to do that next time, but next, of course, I don't know how well you can see, there's a little bit of filament. Just that little row of filament on the back has twisted the beams completely. Interesting. Gone a bit silly on these. I've even printed a gusset in here, and don't know how well or how much it's going to come. There's a little 3D printed gusset right in there, and I've even done it left and right, just so that gusset there and that gusset there are the opposite end gussets. Anyway, I don't normally work a camera like this, so this is interesting, something different. Anyway, so I've got one more of these to glue up. So this is the bridge pier unglued up. These are the 3D printed parts. I did them in a batch. Just got to clean up. There's a little bit of because they're so small and I'm using the machine, I used a brim to stick them down so they are nice and flat before I glue them on. Only the ones I twisted. It doesn't matter that those ones are twisted in this job, but it is a learning curve and something to remember of next time. Okay, drop it on the floor. So I'm sticking these on here. Don't know why I'm yelling, the camera's on my head, making sure I've got the right one on the end. So it's just a matter of a bit of glue. I'm not too, in this stage because of the bridge, I'm just going to move that off a bit. Not too fussy about that they are exactly perfect. You're not going to really see it when I show you what I'm going to do with these. Bit of the old setting spray, hold, and repeat. Now the inside ones, they're a longer one, just because it's a neat, it doesn't really matter. They don't really have to be that cosmetic in this job. I might switch around. So this, let me get it roughly where I want it. Glue, a little bit of time to rework, hold, done. Don't glue the gloves to the thing. Rinse and repeat, as they say. So do that, clean up. Stick that in, stick that in, stick that in. Get it where I want it. Now, the glue that I'm using is this TP10, 2P10, which I found on Amazon, and it is the T2P10 activator. It's actually really good stuff. It works quite well. This is one of the ones I bought to review. This is mainly designed for doing woodworking, but I've used it on lots of plastic stuff and it's worked fine. Now, from the research, activator is really just a mix of IPA and water, so no real reason to buy expensive activator. You can make it yourself. Do your own research on that. Don't take it what Dave says as gospel. But anyway, there's our bridge sections. Hopefully we can see that. If this doesn't work out, I'm about to scull this coffee, and then I'm going to go out and do my recycling, and we'll be back on the next thing. Coffee. If you'd like to buy me a coffee, let me know. I do drink a lot. Anyway, we'll check out this heater quickly. Just going to spin you guys round. Come on, come around. I'm just turning the camera so I can see where the camera is pointed at. So our heater is now fired up and running. That is, I want to do some stuff. So the current turbine temperature, I don't know how well you can see that, is 219 degrees. That'll get up to a bit higher than that, about 220, up to about 250. Okay, the ambient air temperature in here is 28 degrees, so it's getting a bit hot, so we're going to let this cool. That is the temperature that I would set it to heat up, because you set it to heat to its strictly temperature. I actually don't want it that hot here. You can set it to a thermostatically control. Oh, I've just shut it down. That's okay. So now clear means that it's shutting down. We wanted to shut it down anyway because it's going to get too hot in here too quickly, but that was a good test fire. So you'll hear it wind down. It takes about 2 minutes because it's like a typical jet engine. It's got to spool down slowly and gently, and it'll run for a bit. But okay. Well, that's a success fire. Don't get too jammed up. I've got my bridge sections glued up for the next part of the day. I've got my copy finished. So I'm going to go and do my recycling run. Then I'll be back with you. Talk to you later. This is the heater cooling down. It's blowing out the it slows down and then it winds up and it slows down, because what it's doing is purging itself of all the unburnt fuel and exhaust. So if you think, oh, it's winding down, and then it sort of like spools up for a little bit and then it winds down, just to get rid of any excess unburnt materials in the chamber, which you don't want it in there next time, because when you fire it up it'll go bang. No, because we want it to spool up gently and fire up. Anyway, heaps of videos online about firing up jet engines and firing up those diesel engines if you're interested. Okay, right, we'll leave that cool down. We'll go out and do my recycling and talk to you soon. Well, I'm back from doing my running round. I've gone and done some alchemy, as they used to call it in the old days. I've gone and turned some aluminium into diesel. How about that? That's an interesting trick. If you'd like to know some details on how I did that, comment down below and I'll tell you how I turned some aluminium, as in the form of aluminium cans, into diesel fuel. Okay, well, I've started to put these bridge bits and pieces back in. These are really only cosmetic, so this is the supports that go against the back wall, as you can see here, is just to make my life easier, because I've done some work on the factory and we're going to work backwards. I'm going to put the bridge in and then I'll show you what I've done to the factory. Yeah, interesting. But I've stuffed up. I've just had to go and quickly print a bracket, because I'm going to have to move the home signal. Because if I put this bridge together like I did, the signal that allows you to enter the top block is on the bridge, as in the bridge. So I'm going to print a 3D bracket. Have I got a pointer? Look, I'm going to print a 3D bracket that'll go onto the wall here where I'm poking, and we will relocate that signal. So that's a job we're going to have to do in the job we're doing. Isn't it always the way? You start doing a job, and then because you start doing something, because you haven't investigated properly, you then have another thing you've got to do. Anyway, so I'm going to print a 3D bracket that screws here. Then the home signal will then go in that bracket. It's just like the box that it's already putting at that box. So like the box that this one sits in, we're just going to do a new version of that and move it up the hill a bit, because that signal's now useless where it is. That's the calling on signal for the block. Anyway, I've done me running around. We're going to put these bridge sections in place. I'm still intrigued by how much that little bit of plastic bent, just because that last two layers, well, it was still PLA, just changing that difference. And you can't really see, I don't think, on the camera till I edit, how much the old lime green, and I didn't want to load up a full reel of lime green just to do this print, so I just was finishing off what I had to do by using some old end of roll I had and whacked it in the machine. That's the glorious thing about the modern 3D printers with the run out sensors in them. If you're printing and you run out of filament, they stop, wait to refill, and then you can keep going, and 99.9% of the time it's not a problem. And I'm pretty sure that it's just the way where it was this last little bit that was printing that it warped that. I normally don't have any issues like that, but it's such a small component, and just the way it ran out. My old printers, if you've been following around my old Ender Frees when I first got them, if you ran out of filament, those things would just keep printing. They'd keep printing. Later on, when we were going through upgrades, I had to put what they called run-out sensors on them, which we did, and then we upgraded to get around that problem. But the original 3D printers, if you ran out of filament, they just kept going. And one of my old Adventure 4s was like that as well. One of them, the new Adventure 4, when I bought the second one, had a run-out sensor in it, which was amazing because it was my first printer with a run-out sensor, and then we upgraded all the printers to have run-out sensors. Anyway, and these days they come with them. Anyway, I digress. I do have a video running in the background, but I've had to stop it so we don't get any content matches, because they get anything. Anyway, so these are the bridge segments. They've now had time for the glue to set off. Now, when they're straight and narrow, that's how they look, like that, not with that big warp in it. And they are just super glued like you saw in. They don't need that little gusset in there. I just put that for cosmetic, that for bits and pieces that I put that in. because really nobody's going to see that, but that's just for me, those little gussets and that, because I can do stuff like that. So what these do is these segments go in like this and sit on the bridge. Now they used to just go in there and flop over. Now nobody's going to see they flop over till a train comes up the hill and hits it. So now with those little spacey bits in, it spaces off the wall and it just keeps that square so the bridge doesn't fall in. And that's the whole purpose on them. They, if you've watched the video before, Ryobi Bridge never had those. It just was segments that you could take out, because if anything happens or you want to clean the track, you want to be able to pull the segments out. So that was all done to make my life easier. Now, Ryobi Bridge was never, well, it was always there. Then one day I decided, hey, I could print some sides up, and I made up the sides, and I got... So they just drop in there and they are removable. And, oops, don't damage the signal, Dave. Oh, they are so fiddly. One of those projects I wanted to do, the operating signal, but I wouldn't do again. Yes, it's very nice and very lovely on the layout, but it's not something that I would go to the trouble of doing again. I'm just going to reach. Sorry. I'm going to reach in there. And I might have to do this not holding the camera, but this is on a cable and I can disconnect. I might do that because it's so fragile and gentle. I'm going to stop the camera and take that signal out and then come back to you. Sorry about that. Just had to put the camera down, folks, so I get it down. For some reason the cable was trapped up. Very lucky, and I did have a bit of a mild panic attack. Oh, fly, go away, fly. That I had actually put a socket down there for the signal on the servo so I could pull it out, and very thankfully that I've actually got extension cables which are about to magically appear in shot. These are servo extension cables. I put a socket on the end of that and it's there so I can extend it up to where I want to go, which is thankful, because otherwise that would have been a fun job to do. But good on you, Dave, for doing that for us. There is a light up here I should turn on so you're not all in the dark, but time I get the light on and turned on and do the job we're doing. Anyway, so signal coming out, bridge sections going in, new bracket going in. That's the plan for the next part of the video. And then I'm going to put the factory in, and then I'm going to get back. What I was hoping to do is do some work around the loco depot down there in the dark. Since we now have 2 Garretts that we've got to service and maintain, that I should really do a bit of a tidy up around the loco depot and get the Garretts in the depot and make sure we have facilities to coal and water them properly in place. So I'm going to work on that. That was my plan, but I got sidetracked by I needed to fix this area up to put the factory back, and like one job leads to another, leads to another. Anyway, that is the story of Ryobi Hill. And I will move this signal and get these stuffs and get the bridge in, because that's pretty boring watching me do that. And I shall be back with you. And I don't think there's a safe place to put the camera while I'm doing this either. We'll get back to you. Well, there we go. There is Ryobi Bridge in situ. Now, I'm happy with that. I did, as part of my manufacturing progress, you'll see in there is a little, I'll see if I can get the camera in. On the end of that staunchy thing, there is a little slot that I made in my plastic that if I wanted to, I could put a screw on the wall, and then that little bit, I don't know if we can see it, we'll see in editing, the little bit would then slide over. See if I can zoom in on the little bit I'm talking about. Come on. There's a little bit there that would, drop the camera now, Dave, would slide over if I wanted to put a little fine screw on the wall, and then I could put the thing over there and it would slide on off, but I don't think I'm going to need it. That bridge is pretty sound. Once again, it is cosmetic in the background, because the actual factory, which I'm going to assemble, goes over the front. Now the big question is, does the signal still work, Dave? Let's find out. Yeah, it does. I bought years ago the servo kit when I was setting up the DRC system. You can't get, well you can, but you can't get these. I'd love another servo decoder to get run on my DCC, but I've only got one that'll run the 4 signals. I probably wouldn't do semaphores again. Oh, that was a lot of stuffing around, folks. to get my full semaphore. And I really don't, for all the effort, I don't actually work it when I'm running. But yes, we do have proper block working on Dave's railway. Zoom out, Dave, so people can see what's going on. We do have, it's a bit fiddly to do with this one-handed, but from the DCC controller, you can actually operate the 4 signals for each of the 4 operating blocks. In theory, you can run 4 operators, 4 trains, 4 blocks on the block system, and each block then has a caution signal that you're entering the block or leaving a block, and then the home signal is permission to enter the next block. I got so sick of it by the end of it. On that one was actually the last one I did, although the signal's really good. I didn't even bother to sit down and paint the colour codes, and then if you really wanted to stuff around and you had some good dexterity, you could put little LED lights in there and it would change, but no. Anyway, go back and look at the history, because there's a few videos on how I did that in the past. If I was really clever with my editing, I'd be able to link right here now the link to that video, and if I sort that out, you'll now see a link to that video. If you don't, you know I didn't do it. But there you go, the block signalling. And we have the overvat, which is the fixed caution. So yeah, anyway, so opposite that fixed caution will be the enter the block, and that's the fixed caution, which means, no, fixed caution is when you're entering the block is proceed with caution, because the next, yeah, it's a fixed caution. Anyway, look up New South Wales signalling rules. That is called a landmark signal and is a fixed caution signal under signalling rules. Yeah! I pushed the wrong button. I was going to, well, I still am, I'm going to put lights in the factory that sits here, in the new factory that covers the yard here. This yard is also a classification yard, storage yard, and I've got these cassette type systems that slide around. Apologies about the bad lighting. So I'm going to put the factory in. Now, to make the factory sit better, I have put in, this is new, so there's a cleat here and a cleat here, which hold the factory in place so it all sits in there, because I needed to do that before I got on to the lighting stage. So we have to do that. I'll put the factory sections in, and then I'll talk you through that bit. Interesting video this week. Well, okay. Piece of the factory system now fits in and sits in there snugly on that the cleat that we put in there through the windows. So that sits in there, and it sits in there. It was a bit loose before. Fair enough, you can see the piece of timber through the window, but okay. We won't talk about that. That's the elephant in the room. Now, what I did do is, while putting this together, is I've put a magnet on this end of the factory. Now, I've got to put the windows in, and I've got to fix the windows because the window's fallen out. We're going to move on to the lighting, but I'm just putting this back together because I want to go and do the work, like I said, in the loco depot next. It's like finish one job. So there is that magnet there, and there you can see the Ryobi Bridge, which is a steep climb. Well, look, there's 3801 in the shed there, but anyway, that is then factory. So we're now going to put the front on the factory, and I'll show you that, and then I'm going to actually have some lunch because it's almost lunchtime. The day is getting away. It does that. You start fiddling around. Interesting week this week because I lose half a day tomorrow, and then it's Friday, and then I still feel like half a day to get out the Friday video, so that's life. Okay, let me put on the front of the factory, and then we'll talk about that. Okay, so front of factory is on. I've put what will be the roof of factory on, so that is the complete factory, which overall I think it just gives a nice feel to the layout, that it's not so much, it was like it was always going to be an unscenic area and blah blah. And then when I started playing with it, I thought, hang on, let's just do a false front. Now, the whole front of the factory is just designed to come off in one piece, as you saw the previous video. So that just sits on there. It's got the cleat, it's got that magnet section that holds the front on. So if there's any, if there is any, I can't get the any out today. So if there's an issue in the shed, or you need to get in there, You only have to remove, sector plate is the word I was trying to think of. The whole factory is one big sector plate. But anyway, if for any reason you need to get in there, you only need to then take the front of that building off. So that front section comes off. Hopefully you won't notice inside the factory is not painted and all that. But the whole front of the factory can just pop off now and you can get in. And also you can get access to Ryobi Bridge. If there's a major disaster, it's not that hard to take the whole factory out and put it back in. It was never designed to come in and out before, and then I suddenly realised, hang on, if we have a stuff up, we need to be able to get access to it. So anyway, that is the at Wednesday lunchtime. That is, I've got to do, look, all this stuff I've got to come back to do. I've got to work on the funeral scene. Some people are a bit overwrought and fell over. Here's my dad down here with his sheep servicing the hives. And that is now the factory. On the proper Parramatta tramway, that would be the cream of tartar factory, folks, that would be the cream of tartar. Sliding down my gap. So there we are, lunchtime Wednesday. I'm waiting for that bracket to print up. I whacked it through the printer when I was off having that. That'll need installing. That'll mean I'll have to disassemble the gas depot. Once again, there's probably some stuff there in the gas works that I'll have to sort out while I've got it apart. And then I'll hopefully get on to what I want to do at the loco depot. Now, while I'm showing you stuff, old Garrett's disassembled on the bench here in about 2 pieces. Reason was that front. The front, what I said wouldn't bug me, it did bug me. So I managed to scrape up enough paint just to finish the 2 bits, so it should actually be that carmine red. So I've dug up enough paint to finish that, just enough. And it's amazingly that I'm quite happy with the finish because it's a rough finish, although it doesn't look too rough, and it just looks like natural wear and tear on the loco, which came up really, really, really good. And I think that colour is officially called carmine. But anyway, so hopefully that's another job, to put that back together now the paint's dried, put the old Garrett back together, opposed to new Garrett. Anyway, stop rabbiting on, go have some lunch, get that printing done, and we'll look at what's next in the video, which could be for you guys tomorrow, or it might be today, but it doesn't really matter because I don't do chronological order videos. I could remember Mr. Ashfield when he used to do his videos. Today, I'm in the yard. Today, I'm here. Well, today, I'm in the shed. Most days I'm in the shed, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Anyway, that's where we are at end of play. This allows me to move on to putting the lights in the shed, which up here, that's the lights that will go in the shed. Roof is on the shed. That looks all better. I'm happy with that. Happy with that. That looks like strange having a signal just sitting there in the gas depot. Anyway, go and have some lunch, get your stuff done, and then get it back into it, Dave. That would be the good thing. So this is the bracket I just 3D printed. And what I do is, well, what I'm planning to do is screw that to the wall, and then the signal should then drop in that hole. There's the plan. Look, because I'm just using up all scraps and bits and pieces in the 3D printer. Yes, I've printed that out of a glow-in-the-dark type filament, which will be interesting. But anyway, that's what I've done. Oh look, the microphone's in shot. That's what I've done. I'm planning to destroy the gas depot, insert this bracket in, put the signal in place, and then show you some video. All goes to plan. As per typical, if you don't see any video, it failed miserably. Yeah, good one, Dave. So there we go. Bracket in without too much destruction. Should have the light come, yeah. So I was about to say should have the LED lights come on, but all the sensors are in the wrong. There we go. All the sensors are in the wrong spot. But so I've got that in. So I'm going to hopefully drop the wiring. Sorry, put the signal in, reconnect the wiring and then reconnect everything, because I've had to disassemble the gas depot, and then I suddenly realised it would be easier if I then pulled out the Toyota factory. In fact, I'm probably going to call this the Ryobi factory. We'll call it Ryobi factory. Their executive decision. So we'll do that. So stop banging your gums, stop the video, get the signal in, and then take it from there, Dave. So the signal's back in and working. I might have to adjust that later. That's a DCC adjustment, so it goes up and down. So what I do is on the controller, there's a button down here. I'm going to try and do this one-handed, which this button here changes on the, this is the wireless one, it does all the callers. So this button here changes, if you see on the screen. That is accessorial point, that is locomotive. So I go into accessorial point. Now I've already dialed in 303 for that point, and then on this controller I just operate by pushing that button. Gee, super wide angle on this camera would be good. So now I have to reassemble everything. Why would I'd love another servo controller hopefully going on, so then all the things like the gates that open and close and all that, that as you're travelling along with your train you could open and close your gates as well. Because at the moment the and this gate, I was going to demo this gate's not working. Embarrassingly, I've got to then sit down and, but there is a controller here that opens and closes the gate, which for some reason isn't working, but it'll be really handy if you could just all do that from your controller, wouldn't it? Okay, let's reassemble the factory, reassemble the gasworks, and so yeah, factory reassembled, all good, all that done. Gasworks almost reassembled. I've got some bits and pieces, but I don't want to assemble too much because I've just realised we don't have power to the gate, but we don't have power to the lights here in the whole park area. So there's no lights on in the park. The ghost isn't working. Signal works. But no ghost. So we'll have to investigate that next. Yeah, always one step forward, one step back, isn't it? That was an interesting saga. That was an hour I didn't want to spend chasing a broken wire. So we now have the lights back on here in the park area. The ghost who lives down in there's lights are on. I didn't realise that the same circuit powered the depot lights. So we now have loco depot lights over there on as well. So the depots are on the lights. But I've just realised that playing around with all that light circuit, lighthouse isn't working. Anyway, I need to go and have a coffee and then come back, because I'm like, yep, sorted all that out, got all that out, got all the factory back in, got all the gas works back in, got all the lights up there working again, and lo and behold, no lighthouse. Yeah, I'll get back to you. Old Garrett's back together. That's at least one good thing. Oh, beep, beep, beep. That's the multimeter that I've left on. Lawnmower. It's still sitting up here at the workbench. I've done what I said I was going to do. I've I've used the other connector on the switch, and it all works. Haven't got a battery in it, but I did test it. It all works. So using the other set of contacts in the switch, yeah, okay. That'll keep me going till it, that failed. At least I will have new switches. Whew, what a day. Anyway, coffee o'clock. Well, is the lighthouse is back on the air, which is probably needed in days if there's going to be fog and winter is coming on you. You need your lighthouse on, and Puff the Magic Dragon's there having a bit of a go. Yeah, just pottering around the shed, just planning what I'm going to do next. I was going to do a bit of work on my be loco depot, but when I looked at it, but didn't need the work I wanted to think I wanted to do. And that's a funny thing. Just running new Garrett around. You'll see it wander past very soon. It's running the Puff and Billy passenger car set. Just because I can, and it's on the line, it's ready to go. So we'll just hold here as the set runs down. Now this is all home 3D designed and printed, the train you're watching run round. The only commercial parts are the loco mechs, the bogies, well not actually even the bogies, the wheels. On this one it's got 3D printed side frames and the couplers. And as you've seen in the previous video, I'm playing around with magnetic couplers, so I can do a lot more with the stuff myself. But anyway, so this is the new Garrett, or 111, running around with the Puff and Billy car set. And like I said, the only commercial products in this are the weights, the couplers, the wheels, and the chassis, the drive motors, the chassis units, in the locos. If you want to see what they look like naked, go and see some of the videos of the class as naked set. Now I do have to add some crew on the loco footplate, and I'll probably dig up some artificial coal. Well, fine, not dig. I suppose I could really go and dig up some. If you go and walk down the local railway line, I'll probably find a lump of coal to smash up and have real coal. But there you go, I just thought I'd show you that quickly. I'm feeling a bit fatigued, a bit battle worn this afternoon. I've had to do some other stuff around, so I probably won't do much more in the shed today. But it's nice to just get out and then run a train. It's nice to actually have a train running and not derailing. The good thing is the lawnmower that was on the work tables back in the lawnmower shed. That's also an achievement. Not that it will be needed, because we're expected rain for a couple of days, and then probably the last days of this good weather it'll grow like madly. But there is a bit of a cool breeze around today, which is nice also. So yeah, just thought I'd run that. Let's have a look at the train running through the landscape. Just wandering around, just pottering along. It's got a bit of a spot here where it sounds like it's derailed, but it's not. It's quite funny because it goes, oh, you think, oh, it's derailed, as it runs through here, but no, it just must be a wheel set running over a bit of ballast or something. As we come through the set points, here's number 18. Oh, look, it must have disgraced itself because the motor's sitting in the dirt. It's amazing. Pulled out the video camera and the train's running past and not derailing. There must be something seriously wrong here. I did have some oil tank, or it would have been a diesel tank, set up in the loco shed. What is the loco shed? But I've pulled that out because there's no need to now have the supply facilities at that shed, since we can just take a train to the servo, take a diesel loco to the servo and fill it up. So it's felt a bit silly having that diesel set up, and we'll just have the coaling set up in the station, and we'll see what happens. I was just having a bit of a play with the gas depot gate, and I gained an assistant. I was going to run the train up the hill, but no, we seem to have a bit of a catastrophe going on here behind the park gates. How you going, Jazzy Cat? It's really not a spot that I want you to plug yourself in. Now, I don't discourage the cats from coming in and joining me in the shed because, hey, they're good for mouse control and pest control, other bits and pieces. But Big Jazz, although you're comfortably there, are you going to make it a little bit hard? You are. This is not the best place for you, Mr. Puss. But, I suppose, at the moment, you're not eating trees like you've done before or any other stuff, so you can just sit there. I think he was intrigued by the noise that the servo down in here, down under there, I don't know if you can hear it, the servo's making that noise. I think he was intrigued by the servo noise. I won't operate the signal because he might eat it. Good one, Puss. Well, welcome to Friday. Oh, it's been one of those interesting weeks. Welcome to Friday, Dave in the Shed. Right, what I'm going to show you is I've finally, I didn't film any of it, but I've got the park gates up and running again. Well, not the park gates, but the gate for the gas depot. Let's try and get a spot. So, now this uses the same servos as what I used in all my signals, and as I've said earlier in the video, I think I'd love to have another servo controller, as you saw, that you can operate the signals from the remote unit as you're walking around, from the DCC controller to open. Well, you should be able to open and close the gates as you're shunting. If not, we have these little remote controls. Hopefully, we'll just go for a walk down here. Hopefully enough light. I have the DigiSensor DR500. These are made by DigiKeys, which is a DCC control. Gates off the DCC handpits, and you won't have to have these separate controllers. Let's come for a walk. Have a bit of a sticky beak on the layout as we walk around. Of course, this layout grew and wasn't designed very well, gently. So if we come around here and we'll turn some lights on. We have the crossing gates here. If you haven't seen the video before, we have automated crossing gates, and they're operated by two controllers here on the outside. So you've got to manually, well, it's still a walk around layout. You've still got to manually stop your train, open and close the gates. We can't. Let's see if we can get. Now you do have to do them in the right order or you will get gate locked. Oh, got to readjust that one. Anyway, so if you do them in the wrong order, you get gate locked, you get your gates locked. Now the gates, I'll just have to bend that gate back into position, adjust it. Anyway, and then there's a little controller here, which is a Japanese, Chinese, Temu-like control. You can get all this stuff cheap off Temu, the servo controllers, the cabling, all that. If you need more help with that, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know in the comments if you need any help with anything you see in this video or you don't understand what I'm explaining. Anyway, back to the gate. So this gate is on this controller here. Opens and closes. You do actually need this gate here because depending on what you're putting in the gas depot, it's a little bit of a slope. And we have had rolling stock roll out of the gas depot and derail. So that is handy to have that gate. You can actually shunt around and then close the gate, because if you look carefully, I don't know if you can see it on the video, there is a slope here that leads down. It's designed so if you have any accidents, everything runs back into the yard, not down the hill. It's deliberately, it's part of the engineering design of the railway. No, it's not, it was a stuff hunt, but let's not tell anybody. It was a stuff, but we'll do that, It's too late to fix it now. But anyway, there is a a use for the stuff. But anyway, so we have a controller here that then open controls the gates. Now, for some reason, and I've never cracked it why, all these servos on the controllers I'm using run backwards to the way you rotate the knob. So I've got sleeves on, it's a bit cool, so bear with me. So when you control this, I've got gloves because I've been playing with glue and I haven't taken them off yet either. So the actual knob, if you've seen it in my other video, works contra to the servo, and there's probably a way to fix that electronically, but I haven't discovered it, so I just do that. Now these little boxes I just 3D print up. Once again, if you want any of the STL designs, any stuff I do. But anyway, so that's the gate back working. Now, how have I engineered this? The same as over there on the level crossing, that I actually have some PTF tube, stuff that you use for 3D printers, would you believe? Because I've got heaps of that. So there's a little bit of that 3D printer tube, and I don't know if you can see it there on the bottom of the gate. We'll have a look underneath. So the gate then is a perfect slide fit into that, so we have a little bit of adjustment. I can move the gate up and down a bit on the tube if I want to, but that is a push-in fit, friction fit. Now, the stem of the gate also gives us a bit of flexibility without too much. You can actually, because PTF is a little, the PLA, Dave, get your words out, which the gate is printed in, you can move that a little bit gently with your hand so you can line all the gate up. Now, down the bottom, I actually moved the servo down to where I could work on it if I had to, because it was too far jammed up. So that is my little servo there. And you can see that is my tube. And then I have got a piece of brass rod, and I've bent the brass rod over into a, hopefully the camera will focus, into a 180, 360 back on itself. So I burnt the rod right over and then heated it up and put it in the top of the servo. I did try gluing it on, but that wasn't successful with me super glue. So in the end, what I tried to do was I just bent the brass over the rod and then heated it and gently inserted it into the top of the servo. Okay, see if you can explain. And then that rod then goes up into the tube, and the little trick is that I picked up off a friend of mine who works with RC aircraft, is you bend it. So there's a bit of that kink there, I don't know if you, is deliberate, because that what forms your friction fit between there's no glue, there's no solvent. That little bit of a twist in that tube forms your friction fit, which holds that brass tube in the plastic tube. It also allows you to give it a little bit of, as long as you manipulate gently, a little bit of adjustment, because you can twist the pair of them together. But anyway, see that little kink there that I did with a pair of long nose pliers? That then holds everything in place. So now the servo is where I can get to it. That fit, they're easier to maintain, easier to repair, easier to service. And the gate on the gas depot is back in service. Well, that concludes this week's video. I hope you enjoyed the ride. A little bit longer this week. A bit more going on, a bit more broken, a bit more needing repaired. Isn't it always? 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And I haven't achieved everything I wanted to achieve this week, which is what we always say. Well, I do. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this week's. Don't forget, like and subscribe. If you don't know where you found this on the internet and you've never seen my videos before, give us a subscribe, give us a like, give us a comment. I will reiterate. Oh, that's a big word for you, Dave. I'll reiterate. If you want any of the STL files, they are the files that you use to 3D print stuff of the stuff I've done, let me know. I'm happy to share my designs, because there's no reason to reinvent the horse if you don't have to. If I've printed something and you go, oh, gee, I wish I could print that, let me know. Now, saying that, don't do commercial printing, but there's lots of places that will print stuff for you. Officeworks, I believe, now do 3D printing. Or there's a place not sponsored by them, or there's a place called PCB Way, which you'll hear about, a lot of people talking about on the internet. They do 3D printing for you and bits and pieces. But anyway, that's it. Have a good week, keep safe, and don't forget, as you've seen this week in my videos, get out there and try something different. Do something different, because you don't know what you can do or what you can't do till you try. And it's okay to fail as well, because that teaches you next time how to do it better. Although it is frustrating. Anyway, clock tells me it's coffee o'clock again. I've got to go and upload this video, edit all that, and we'll chat again next week with something interesting, something else or something going on. Now, don't forget, if you've got any suggestions of videos or want me to clarify what I've done or how I've done it, let me know. Let me know. Until then. Now, I'm going to do something different on this end. I've been Aussie Dave. You've been a lot of fun. Now, if you want to know what this Aussie Dave stuff is about, go to Spotify, search for Aussie Dave. Don't often cross-promote what we do, but go to Spotify. I'm now on Spotify. Search for Aussie Dave. Hopefully my ugly mug come up. Might be Aussie Dave Live you've got to look for. There you will find Aussie Dave, and you'll find more about what this Aussie Dave stuff is. Anyway, this has been Dave in the Shed, doing a bit of everything this week. Talk to you later. Keep well.